Oh baby, it is time, at least I think it's time, for the major setup of which Bitcoin's been baking in for quite some time now, likely on the very last edge of the proverbial cliff before being fully confirmed. Other than that, I want to also go over the Bitcoin dominance chart, as there's a bit of an altcoin bloodbath going on right now, as you may or may not expect, although long term we've been very bullish on that chart, and I suspect that we're probably going to be continuing to be bullish on it over the even longer term now. Anyways, other than that, I want to once again let you know that you can still get the Jewel app free for the first 30 days if you follow the directions in the link in the description below. And then, of course, there is an affiliate link to the Apex exchange, which is a decentralized exchange, which may or may not be valuable to you, seeing as all the other exchanges are being litigated against by the SEC. So there you go. All right, sweet. Let's just jump right into it. This one I imagine is going to be a little bit more on the short and sweeter side. And what do we have over here? We have the 2-day setup, seemingly finally on the verge of full-on confirmation. First and foremost, this setup is ticked off by the BBWP indicator, which represents volatility, aka the dispersion of returns, and it is looking like it's going to go for an official expansion here. I believe, yes, fully confirmed. I guess it would be fully confirmed actually tomorrow night on closure, to be fair. But in this case, this is essentially what we're looking for. We're looking for expansion with the BBWP getting back above that 10 percentile level and also above the moving average, which also has a positive slope. In this case, the direction of the 2-day timeframe stochastic oscillator has led to a high probability move within that direction, of which we've seen about an average move of 27% over the course of about 19 days, so around 2.5 to 3 weeks-ish region. And of course, if we were to actually go through this data and just look at the short setups, because we do have full data throughout the full history of Bitcoin for this, I'm just finding it on my other screen over here. There we go. We can see that just for the short setups, there has been 19 total prior iterations, of which 16 of those did play out with some pretty, nasty downside fashion, giving it a rather high strike rate. In this case, the downside ones did actually operate on a bit of a faster schedule, the average being 14 right on the dot, which was rather interesting. And then also the average return was a little bit lower than what we just looked at when we included the long side, but just under 26%, with a first standard deviation range between about 18 all the way up to 34 or so. So going back into it over here, assuming that this does get fired off and confirmed tomorrow for not just the 2-day time frame closure, but also the weekly closure, probably looking at the next couple weeks for some, continuation to the downside. In fact, might finally get that 24,800-ish region that I was looking for. But ultimately, looking at from where it is right now, what essentially would we potentially be looking for? Well, upper teens puts Bitcoin down somewhere around like 24,000 bucks, let's say, or maybe just under 24,000 bucks. If we do see the average hit in this case, that would be dragging it down significantly further, actually, somewhere closer to about 20 to 21,000 bucks. So I don't really have a strong opinion on which one of those gets hit. Obviously, there's going to be some variance within these results. I mean, we've seen, ones that were on the lower teens. We've seen ones in the high 30s. Where is this one going to fall? Probably, personally speaking, I do think that it will be a little bit more in the teens region. But ultimately, price action will tell us at the end of the day. And again, awaiting full-on confirmation, which will be had as long as Bitcoin is below 26,350. At that point, tomorrow night, assuming that is confirmed, then the downside probabilities really start to go up here. It's a bad conundrum, right? But my point is that, as long as Bitcoin's below this particular pivot, 26,350, downside pressure remains. That is to say that if Bitcoin can recover back above, low 26,000 bucks by tomorrow, that would be a damn good indication that, well, we're going to go back into the same range. Then really nothing's going to be clarified at that moment, unfortunately. But for right now, this would be the barrel's chance. This is the barrel's chance in the next 48 hours here, and it's really time to be paying attention for that particular measurement. And, just kind of looking at good old price action right here, as long as Bitcoin's below 26,800 or so, that early June high, downside a lot more likely in this case, as we do just continue to see the trend continue. Anyways, yes, so other than that, I want to once again go into the lower term timeframes. Yesterday, we were looking at a break of 26,200 as likely to get a continuation move to the bottom side of this, of this past week, which is kind of where we're at right now. Low of the week was 25,350. Current price, or current low of the day is about 25,450. So I'd say that is pretty much met right there. Of course, if we once again reference a 2-hour range, we can see the bottom side coming in, officially at the week's low. Just around 25,300-ish region. So is there going to be a short-term bounce attempt there? Perhaps yes. I would say if there is going to be hopium, that's where it comes from. That's where you'd be looking for a bounce from. You'd not be looking for Bitcoin to go really any lower than that level on a closing basis, even on like a medium-term time frame, and even on the weekend here as well. Bitcoin really starts to trade and close below that region. Very, very likely we're going to see sub $25,000 prices. I'd be looking at about 24,800 as the next sort of short-term bounciest region. Is that going to be it? Based off of what we looked at, over here. Unlikely, I'd say. Unlikely. But again, that, needs to be clarified tomorrow, but you can kind of see how, one domino leads to the next. And until then, again, big focus on that low $26,000 region. As long as Bitcoin's below there, downside pressure is the priority. Anyways, let's go ahead and reference stochastic momentum, and then we'll get into some other fun stuff. Weekly stochastic momentum, again, keeping in mind that it will close tomorrow, is going to remain to the downside as long as Bitcoin's below, 29,000. So rather likely. 5-day time frame is also going to be downside pressure as long as Bitcoin's below 29,000 bucks as well. 2-day time frame, we already looked at that one obviously, so we don't need to go over that. But daily is also going to be showing downside as long as Bitcoin's below 26,100 or so. 12-hour time frame is also going to be showing fresh downside below 26,500. 6-hour time frame is going to load. It's also going to be showing fresh downside below 26,400. 4-hour time frame is also going to be showing downside below 26,100 or so. And hourly, is this one also going to be down? It is down actually too, way in the critical zone right there. So maybe like a very, 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 very short-term time frame try for a bounce. But ultimately, this is kind of what we were looking for of this past week, is like agreement between all these different time frames. Looks like we're about to get it, if not already. So I'd say that this is really the chance for the barrels to take over and enforce it down. And again, really any sort of a closure below, what was it, Tuesday lows? Yeah, Tuesday lows, even on a 4-hour time frame, I'd say, although higher term time frame is going to be better usually, very likely to lead towards that continuation. Anyways, yes, one last thing actually, also on that note, as far as hopium goes, look, Bitcoin, I shouldn't really call it hopium. It's just like, if Bitcoin can reclaim these major moving averages over here before the weekend closes, again, that'd be a pretty damn good sign for Bulas, especially back above the 200 simple, which is 26,400 or so. Right now, almost $1,000 away, so fair enough. But that is also going to be combined with potential regular phantom bearish divergence on weekly RSI. This would be a breakdown setup here. Weekly volatility looking for expansion as well. Yeah, I'd have to say that, I'm looking for pieces of hopium here for the Bulas, but it really all hinges, like the best that I can come up with is back above 26,000 bucks before end of weekend. That would be a lot more compelling. Until then, downside going to be a little bit more likely here, or maybe dare I say a lot more likely. Also, what else? So now that we're mostly through this video, should I be going through Bitcoin dominance? Maybe we'll save that for another day. I'll just briefly go over right here. Last week I came in saying I'd actually be looking for it to pull back first before a bit of continuation. We got a little bit of that pullback. I was looking about at 1% further down, somewhere in like the upper 46s. That obviously did not happen. Continuation happening sooner rather than later just implies strength, man, or woman, because it is 2023 after all. But looking at the monthly as well, again, long term, nothing's really changed for me here. Still looking, severely further to the upside over the course of the next, I would say, year to 2 years. I still do believe that this one probably reaches maybe even north of 60% within the next year and a half to 2 years. And probably in the more immediate term, like the next 6 months to a year, probably going to be traded into the mid 50s. as this one, is really set to move after a multi-year bottom going in from May of 2021 all the way to April of 2023. You have a technical W formation right here. You have fibs. You have just momentum oscillators as well, all suggesting upside continuation is significantly likely. So I do think that we're going to see the altcoin bloodbath continue. That means that altcoin Bitcoin pairings not going to be looking all that hot on the whole. Yes, there's going to be a few one-offs here and there. Let's actually just quickly check on Ethereum Bitcoin. I'm just curious. Yeah, still range bound overall. So ultimately, yeah, not going to be pretty. It's like whether Bitcoin goes up or down here. It's probably not going to be interpreted too well for altcoins. And yes, again, there will be some that that have astronomical gains. As always, there's at least one or two or a handful. But on the whole, the majority not going to be operating all that well. I'm just curious to see this one on Twitter all the time now too. Is Cardano? Whoa, hey, Jesus Christ, man! We need to bring out the fucking dumper on that one. My lord, that is nasty. What was another one that was getting called out? Soul, I think I saw Soul popping up a lot on the feed. And what do you know? Another death dildo right there. Hidden bearish evidence on that last weekly. Yeah, not good, man. Not good. So I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this particular video before I piss off more community members of altcoins. Not community members of this channel, or unlikely, but like altcoin community members, those people. Anyways, yes, that's a good place for me to be leaving off. As always, wish you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.